Hi friends, so for Hispanic Heritage Month, we were researching and learning about the holiday Dia de los Muertos. And we began our project by planning a sugar skull design, right? So we looked at all different symbols that you might find in a Dia de los Muertos celebration, like marigold flowers, butterflies, sugar skulls, right? And you're going to incorporate those symbols in your drawing somehow. Now, as you can see, my final ended up being a little bit different from my sketch. That is okay. We evolve through the process. So we did the basic skull drawing, and then we added all of our design into that basic drawing. Now, we are going to go through and outline everything in Sharpie. Now, you're going to need a mess mat underneath here because Sharpie stains if it bleeds through onto the table. So I did all sorts of designs in mine. I kind of went a little crazy, but sugar skulls are pretty ornate, which means there's a lot of design happening on them. So feel free to go crazy. This drawing is going to take a while. That is okay. Sometimes we have art pieces that take one class. Sometimes we have art pieces that might take 3 or 4. It's all going to be worth it in the end. So you're going through and you are sharpieing all your lines. I did some leaves in the background here. There's some grass kind of sticking out. I did a big butterfly. I did a couple neck bones here. You decide how crazy you want to go in the background, but I wanted sort of that nature element around my sugar skull. Now, something that you're gonna see in my piece is a lot of line weight variety, which means some of my lines are very thick and some are thin, right? It looks much more interesting if you have certain lines emboldened. For instance, around this flower over the eye, I went over it a few times to thicken the lines. Same with the leaves on the side, right? I'm gonna do it with this sort of starburst around the eye here as well. You see how I'm going through and emboldening certain lines. Again, this is gonna take a while. You're gonna have to really buckle down and commit, right? So I'm gonna go around and embolden that. I really wanna make this heart pop too, so I might go around and embolden this little drawing as well. So it's going to take time. I think the leaves would do well with having some bold lines as well, because right now they kind of blend all together. I really want to make them pop. So you can see the difference here. And of course you can leave some of the background plain. Now the reason we're using Sharpie is because we are going to use watercolor over this in the end, and Sharpie will not budge if water is applied over it, where the Crayola markers we would end up making a mess. They're water soluble. Now that mess mat's coming in handy because I'm going off the page and I don't have to worry about it going onto my table, right? So see how much better that looks already with some of these lines emboldened? Such a big difference. It's worth taking the time. So don't get discouraged if I say, hey, I'd like you to go back and make some of those lines bold. It's totally worth it. Now, when you're done with your Sharpie and you've got those line weight variety going on here, it would be time to add crayon. Right, so you're going to add crayon in various parts of your sugar skull, right, to add color. And again, don't be afraid to get super detailed. I started off with my sketch and I just started building off of it on the final piece. All right? So I'm gonna go through and make some more lines bold, definitely the outside of the skull. And we will meet back for part 2 after I've added some color with crayons. And I'm gonna show you how to add watercolor on top to make this sugar skull look 3-dimensional and really pop out of the page. Another reason why we're using crayon is because crayon is made out of wax, and it also will not be affected by the watercolor on top. The wax resists the water. You don't have to worry about it changing anything. The watercolor won't bother it, where if you use markers, it would be a different story. All right, I'll see you back in a few.